What's going on, everybody? C4, welcome back to the channel. Today we're for a new Madden 23 realistic rebuild from the fallout of the 2023 NFL Draft. This may be our final Madden 23 rebuild of the season. We are 14, well, as I'm recording this, it's August 1st, 14 days away from the release of Madden 24. And you know me, I like to wind down just a little bit so you have, you know, you want that space. You want that breather. I want that breather between rebuilds because obviously rebuilds are, you know, 30, 45, 50-minute videos. And it's always good to hit a little bit of a reset. So I felt like out of all the teams that are left, I'm not saying this is 100%. I might get bored and want to do another rebuild. But out of all the teams we've yet to rebuild from the fallout of the draft, Denver, I think, is probably the most interesting right now, especially after some recent comments. Sean Payton's kind of lighting the fire, ironically, of this Week 1 matchup, kind of roasting Nathan Hackett and his coaching job with the Broncos. And then you have now Aaron Rodgers at the Jets, absolutely roasting Sean Payton. So it's kind of an interesting back and forth. But either way, I do think the Denver Broncos are in a very, very interesting spot. I think there's a lot of good and bad and question marks with this roster. The good on offense and defense. On offense, Javonte Williams is an absolute stud if he can get healthy. Jerry Jeudy has untapped potential. Cortland Sutton is a low-end wide receiver 1, and if you can get Jerry Jeudy to put it all together, that could be dangerous. That definitely could be dangerous. Tim Patrick just can't stay healthy. Actually, looks like he just suffered an injury yesterday, which could sideline him for back-to-back seasons, which sucks because he was like one of the more underrated wide receivers in the NFL. But luckily, they got Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma in the draft. He's a really exciting player. They added Mike McGlinchey from the 49ers in free agency, as well as Ben Powers, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens. The offensive line generally is pretty solid. Love seeing the dev traits, especially Miners, Cushenberry. They're on the right side of 30. But the big question mark on offense is Russell Wilson. Is Sean Payton going to be able to get the most out of Russell Wilson? I think most people are assuming that he will, because Sean Payton has had a lot of success with quarterbacks in his career, especially quarterbacks that are kind of built and have the same strengths of Russell Wilson, Drew Brees. So we're not going to say that Russell Wilson is going to immediately become peak Seahawk Russell Wilson now that he has a different coach, maybe even a better coach, depending on who you ask. But I do think you look at the last 2 games of the regular season, they fired Hackett and they were kind of in autopilot. But I mean, like, the Broncos almost beat the Chiefs, and then who they beat? The Chargers. Like, they almost beat the Chiefs, and then they beat the Chargers to close out the regular season. So like, they ended the year on as much momentum as you possibly could have in the AFC for a non-playoff team. And Russ kind of figured it out a little bit. So I think Broncos could be a little bit of a sleeper. I'm not saying, because, I mean, they are, firmly behind the Chiefs and I think Chargers for the upcoming season on paper. But, like, I could see them surprising and maybe finishing behind the Kansas City Chiefs in that division. Who knows? Look at the defense. Not as good as the offense. Taking a look. They got Zach Allen coming up from the Arizona Cardinals. I like that move. They pretty much replaced Draymond Jones with that. And I don't want to say that necessarily is an upgrade, but it's a lateral move for 2 good players. Rest of the front 7, they added Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton. They added that with Drew Sanders, the linebacker out of Arkansas. And just because he has the dev trait, no disrespect to Singleton, I love what he did. Coming from a CFL Defensive Player of the Year, played pretty well for my Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously has some limitations, but has some clear strengths as well. Good sideline linebacker, but no dev trait, and he's 28, so we're going to go with the young buck there. We got Randy Gregory, and I think one of the most underrated, waiting for a breakout type players. Could be completely off the mark, but I think Baron Brown. I remember when he tested coming out of Ohio State. And it was like, he's a linebacker. Is he going to be a middle linebacker? Is he going to be an edge rusher? And it felt like last year the Denver Broncos started to flirt with him a little bit as an edge rusher. And he looked good. I watched 2 Broncos games where I remember him standing out. I was like, Jesus Christ. Baron Browning, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that there could be something there potentially. I don't know if he's one of the most slept on players, at least on this Broncos team. But I think there might be a chance for a potential breakout. You have the veteran Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons at safety. PS2, Pat Surtain II, one of the best corners in the NFL. And you added White Lightning back there out of Iowa. Riley Moss, really nice looking rookie, 72. Got some great athletic traits. And hell, with the lack of depth we currently have in our corner room, he's probably going to start, which is awesome because that'd be pretty cool. Because we need someone else. That's not Jason Sehorn, or we don't have a 2024 class to use his teammate Cooper DeJean. So that is your Denver Broncos team. We're going to go 5 years and try to turn this thing around and get the Denver Broncos back into a Super Bowl and on the winning side of said Super Bowl. So without further ado, let's get to our sponsor for today's video and then get into year number 1. I'd like to thank DraftKings for sponsoring today's video. And if you want to get in on the fantasy action but you're sick of roster management, this year, Best Ball on DraftKings is exactly what you need to be playing. All you have to do is draft your team once in a snake draft style format at the beginning of the season. Each week, you'll automatically rack up points from your top scorers on your team. No roster management to worry about. All you need to do is head to DraftKings right now. New customers sign up using promo code C4DFS and check out all of their great fantasy games. Start playing Best Ball, download the DraftKings app, sign up using promo code C4DFS, and enter DraftKings Best Ball $10 million contest and draft your team for the season. Sign up using my code C4DFS and get your first $10 entry fee back in DK dollars once the draft is finished. Each week, you'll automatically rack up points from all of your top scorers. No ads, drops, trades, I should have played him insteads. You'll be able to enjoy the fantasy football action without the need to manage your team. The team with the most points at the end of the season will take home the $1 million top prize. This is DraftKings' largest Best Ball contest ever. So what are you waiting for? Head to the DraftKings app and sign up with promo code C4DFS and start playing Best Ball today. Enter the DraftKings $10 million Best Ball contest and you'll get your first $10 entry back in DK dollars only on DraftKings with promo code C4DFS. At the midway point of year 1, well, I'm not gonna say, it's not good. 3-6, still plenty of time to make this season respectable. I wasn't expecting playoffs in year 1, but I will say I was, at worst I was thinking we'd be the Raiders spot, 5-5, 500. But we did just come off a nice victory against the Chargers, who were second in the division. They were 6-3 going into that matchup, so maybe we can get a little bit of momentum here down the stretch. Let's look at some contracts. I have no idea what the salary cap's looking like. It's not going to be good because we have Russell Wilson's huge contract. We have $33 million. Alberto's a backup tight end. Don't need it. Frank Clark, surplus requirement. Kwan Williams. I'm actually focus scouting the corners this year to see if we can find another corner to put with PS2 and Riley Moss. KJ Hamler's just barely in the depth chart. I think Lloyd Cushenberry, solid center for us to continue to build around. So we'll go player friendly and we'll give him 5 years potentially. Should be enough to get him signed on the dot line. We don't have to worry about center for the rest of this rebuild. Kareem Jackson, he's likely going to retire. Josie Jewell at middle linebacker. It's a guy, I don't hate the 3-year deal. I don't want to have to overpay too much. How about start by that 21 mil? Hey, he's a team player. He wants to buy in. Love hearing that. And yeah, all right. It's good. Good business in-house. We just said in that game, beat the Vikings. And look at Pat Surtain, defensive player. That's one of the best defensive players of the week. Riddick on the other side. Very impressive for the Eagles. But Pat Surtain, 2 tackles, 3 interceptions. One of those a pick 6. That's probably the best corner performance of the year. Looking at all of these, Pat Queen had 3 interceptions a week. I'd give it that might be the most impressive defensive performance all season. And at the end of year 1, well, we started the year against the Jets. We finished the year the first round against us. All 4 teams in the AFC West make the playoffs. We finished strong to go 9-8. We had a top 10 offense in the NFL. Full kudos to Russ and the guys, man. They got into a rhythm, and we were able to ride that into a nice second half of the season. Russ finished top 5 in yards, 35 touchdowns, 13 picks. Really nice season. 1,100 yards, 12 tutties for Javonte. 10 vultures there from Samaje Perine. We have 1,400 yards on 100 catches, 8 tutties for Cortland Sutton, 1,300 yards, 12 tutties for Jerry Jeudy. Sutton was an outside wide receiver 1. We put Jerry Jeudy in the slot. Dulcich with a nice season for a tight end. 82 catches, 841 yards, and 8 tutties. Defensively, Jewell and the rookie Drew Sanders both go over 100 tackles. Sanders with 9 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 picks. 9.5 sacks for Randy Gregory, 9.5 Zach Allen, 9 from Baron Browning. Pretty happy with those numbers. Generally, you get low sack numbers in a 3-4 defense, so that's pretty cool. And 5 picks. Pat Surtain, one of the best DBs, if not the best DB right now in the NFL in this world. Pat Mahomes wins the MVP. Russell Wilson coming in at number 7. Hopefully that doesn't murder his regression this offseason. Looking at the individuals, Drew Sanders ends up winning Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, he's a star dev. That could bode very well for having a superstar dev linebacker here for the Denver Broncos, which is always going to be pretty huge going forth. Surtain runner-up for DB of the Year. He's already an X Factor. It just would have been nice to have that award. It goes to Trey White, who's also a very nice corner. Did he have more picks than us? Oh, maybe he did. Maybe he was tied with 5. Either way, made the playoffs against the Jets. Sean Payton, can you put up and shut up and shut them up? And he does. 28-21. The Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson get a win, and they're going on to the divisional round where Russ cooked. 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kareem Jackson also got Defensive Player of the Week, 8 tackles and a pick. As the Broncos, hey, kick the shit out of the Jets, and now we take on the Titans, 14-3. Derrick Henry was unstoppable. Not too often you have the number 3 offense based off the fact that you have easily the number 1 rushing offense. 27th passing, but when Derrick Henry goes for 2,000 yards and 25 touchdowns, yep, that can happen. They also have a top 10 defense. It's going to be a very, very tough matchup. I'm already think we're playing with house money, getting into the playoffs and getting a playoff win. And we are 2 wins in a row in the AFC Championship. Josie Jewell this time gets a clutch interception, and we are going to be meeting Justin Herbert. I believe we beat the Chargers twice in the regular season. Holy, okay. Did not think we were going to be going on this miracle run. Hey, hopefully the wheels don't fall off. Love to make the Super Bowl. Love to get that Super Bowl win year 1 so that years 2, 3, 4, and 5 are players. And we're in the Super Bowl. Let's go. 28-21 again. Russell Wilson, 3 touchdowns. Randy Gregory, 2 sacks. And we're taking on, of course, one of the 2 teams that seemingly always find a way to make the Super Bowl. But this is probably one of the better runs I have seen. We have a 77 quarterback, and we are just chugging our way through the AFC. Now, we didn't have to run through the Kansas City Chiefs, which is a win. But, all right. Denver, 9-8. Broncos, 9-8. Cowboys, Super Bowl on the line in year 1 of this rebuild. It's going to be tough. Dallas is good for no reason. Like, even unbiased. We'll take this moment to bring it on. Dallas is not a bad team. Dallas is probably like a fringe top 10 team in the NFL. And if they get hot, they definitely be a top 10 team in the NFL and push for the top 5. But we all know Dallas is not anywhere near as good as they are presented in the Madden 23 World Sim. We're keeping it close. Dallas did get an instant touchdown to start the second half. We're up 21-7 points on this drive would be massive. But unfortunately, we missed the field goal. Kind of going back and forth here. But, fellas, we might have a little bit of an anticlimactic rebuild. Anytime you win a rebuild year 1, if that happens, kind of like, well, what do you get to play for? Just trying to build a dynasty. But, you know, you never know. Dallas is going to make it annoying. And we're going to overtime. We're going to win. Oh, the game crashed. Year 1 Super Bowl. It counted. You saw it. I saw it. Let's go. So in closing, after winning the Super Bowl, Russell Wilson, he's still 77, but hey, he did it. That was him. That was on him. He was MVP. Got the job done against the Cowboys. Jerry Jeudy goes from star up to a superstar depth. Greg Dulcich goes from normal dev up to a star dev. No regression on the offense. Defensively, we have, in terms of dev traits, Justin Simmons unfortunately lost his superstar, and we didn't get a superstar for Drew Sanders winning Defensive Rookie of the Year, which is always annoying when that happens. I didn't see a single thing in free agency that was worth our money, so I'm going to roll over that $52 million, and we're going to do our damage in the draft. Now go to the draft. Well, Denver has first-round picks now, which is cool. Picking at pick 32. We earned the right to pick at 32. Fortunately, that means all the top corners that I really wanted are unfortunately coming and flying. Pretty much long gone off the board. Looking at some quarterbacks, though, I never actually want to be too ignorant, knowing that Russell Wilson could retire literally at any point. We have Jonathan Simpson here. Actually, looks great throw power. Then A and a B for throwing under pressure. What about this guy? Colin McLaughlin. If one of these guys has like elite throw, that's a day 3 pick. I'll tell you right now, we might come around. We might come back around to this guy. Could be a developmental option. But I did scout the corners, and I did have like a late round corner I did like. But let's see who's left of the first round. Oh, we still got Jose Moon. 2 Bs, 2 Cs, 6'3", 186. First was 4'3". And I also scouted a corner a little bit down here. Oh, wow. Kind of whipped. UDFA, man, at 6 feet. He has A catching, B press, C zone. That's not that bad. Elite jumping. That is a surprising score there. But we will go with Jose Moon in the first round. And actually, I might grab one of those quarterbacks if they're still on the board in the second. Oh, no, Dev. Come on. Screw it. Let's grab our court. Let's see. Maybe there's something here. Maybe not, but maybe there is. Let's go. Day 3 QB. Pretty much blind pick. Comes in with a hidden Dev in 90s. He might be like a 66 overall. But why not, man? There could be it's been a minute. We got the house money with hitting a Super Bowl in year 1. And usually when we have to draft a quarterback, we'd be trading multiple picks and trade up for one of the guys going top 5. Been a minute since, I don't even know if we've done it yet this year, where we find like a sleeper mid-late round quarterback that actually developed into a starter. Might have a chance here. Or Russ will never retire and he'll keep winning Super Bowls. As long as he, regresses and whittles away. And looking at our draft recap, Jose Moon, even though he's normal to have 74, it's not a bad rating. Good enough for him, likely to start as a rookie. McCullough did come with a big arm and a dev trait, but a pretty low starting point of a 65 overall. But he probably will get one of our focused training throughout the regular season. So hopefully that helps his rating. I did get a great value in the 4th round. Delos, a hidden dev lineman, 74 hidden dev, which is really, really nice. Unfortunately, obviously we got Cushionberry there long term, but he could just be great depth and a developmental option. Get a 70 overall kicker. Just kind of simmed it out, but definitely one to watch. Colin McCullough. Let's see how he develops. Maybe he's our late round successor to Russ. To replace Kareem Jackson at strong safety, we went with a rookie. Well, former rookies entering a sophomore year. J.L. Skinner. Big 6'2", 6'3", 220 safety. Kind of built like Cam Chancellor. Out of Boise State, was a late round pick, and he hits a dev trade. Normal dev, jumps up to a star in his first year as a starter. Gets a nice 5K XP as we start the season out 3-0 with another breakout, this time at wide receiver. This could be for anyone. This could be for Sutton. This could be for Jerry Jeudy. It's probably going to be Jerry Jeudy. It is probably not going to hit that. And yeah, I actually don't know if I've ever seen a wide receiver hit X Factor in the sim from a scenario. And our bye week, year 2, after defending Super Bowl champion pressure. And we're 6-2, sitting atop the AFC West. But it looks like it's going to be an absolute bloodbath again. Last year, every team in the division made the playoffs. This year, every team has at least 5 wins through 10 weeks, which is pretty damn awesome, I think. Hopefully, as long as we stay on top, that makes it just that much more rewarding. Now, we didn't spend any money really for HA last year. We decided to kind of carry that money over, and I am sure glad that we did that because we have a lot of money that is going to be getting thrown around. We have Justin Simmons, who we'll get him on 4 years. Let him retire a Bronco. We have Jerry Jeudy, who went up dev trait last year, is thriving with Russ. We're going to get him on a 4-year, keep him for the rest of the rebuild. Javonte Williams, I'm a big fan of his game, man. I know a lot of people sleep on him. He's coming back from injury, but I think he's a really talented running back, and even though you don't pay running backs, I'm going to pay him. Let's get Quinn Meinerz here for the remainder of this rebuild. Wants more years. If that's the only difference, easy. Baron Browning, love the development of him. Also fairly reasonable. As long as he, it'd be nice for him to go up dev trait, hit that superstar. But we'll get him 4 years, remainder of the rebuild. Outside of that, Garrett Bowles, you know what I like to say? You run your lineman into the ground. I would like to not have to replace my left tackle, so we'll give him a 1-year contract extension. Probably going to let Tim Patrick and these guys walk. I think Caden Stern's a versatile DB to keep, but with J.L. Skinner breaking out, do we really need him anymore? I might throw, that's the reasonable. If I can get him on cheap, it's always a nice kind of emergency in case Justin Simmons retires or something like that. Have a guy that's just ready to go. So I do think I will offer Caden Stearns a new contract, and we're going to give Quinn Meinerz an extra year to get him to sign on the dotted line. But that's why we rolled over our salary cap, baby. Keep the guys that are in Denver, that were part of winning the Super Bowl, and make them stay in Denver for the remainder of this rebuild. In year 2, we somehow, with a tiebreaker, finish ahead of the Kansas City Chiefs and get our first divisional title of the rebuild. 12-5, AFC West champions. Looking at the stats, how did we achieve this? Well, Russ still playing well. I'm expecting him to regress at any point. Those are good numbers. Those are top 10 quarterback numbers, and he's 36, 35, getting ready to turn 36. So happy with where Russ is at. And the backup, I don't know if we have his dev trait yet. Probably not. Colin McCullough, but we've been working on it. It is star dev. He's gone from 65 up to a 69, so he's developing nicely as our backup. And honestly, I'll commit to that right now. Unless something dangerously dumb happens, where it'd be hindering the remainder of this rebuild, he's probably going to be our successor. Javonte with a great season, 12, almost 1,300 yards, 17 touchdowns, 1,100 yards, 10 tutties for Sutton, 1,008 for Jerry Jeudy, almost 8 and 8 for Greg Dulcich. And on the defensive side, Drew Sanders, Josie Jewell, both going over 100 tackles. Randy Gregory, 12 sacks. Baron Browning, 9.5. Pretty decent numbers there. 5 picks, Riley Moss. 5 picks for the rookie, Jose Moon. 4 for Pat Surtain. Hopefully that is a defensive rookie of the year for Moon, because I really want to get him off that normal dev. That would go a long way. And hey, maybe Riley Moss, get him up to a star. That's back-to-back years, man. He's 7 picks in his first 2 years in the league. Dak wins MVP, so that's his like revenge tour of losing in the Super Bowl. Russ comes in number 8 for the MVP voting. Rest of the awards here, Jose Moon does win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, last year, Drew Sanders won Defensive Rookie of the Year and did not go up dev trait. Hopefully we don't get burned with that back-to-back seasons, because that would be kind of brutal. All things considered, Randy Gregory, runner-up for Linebacker of the Year. And we had Riley Moss and Moon 3 and 4 for Defensive Backs of the Year. But as we get ready to embark on a journey to defend our Super Bowl title, it starts with a very tough draw in the first round against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. But last year we found a way to win. This year, let's see if that continues. Oh, we lose a close one. 31-27, one and done. We pull the Cowboys. Damn. Not a great game from Russell Wilson. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks. Joe Burrow played a little bit cleaner, but neither quarterback really took this game over. Jerry Jeudy had a great game. Cortland Sutton as well. 2 sacks for Zach Allen. Pick for Justin Simmons. Not enough as we crash and burn, but the pressure's already been lifted off our shoulders by winning that Super Bowl in year 1. Everything else is house money, but you never want to go one and done. Let's dust ourselves off. Get into year 3. I guess maybe the first hurdle now is going to be seeing, does Russell Wilson retire this offseason, or does he come back for a year number, I don't even know what he's at, for his 36-year-old season. And at the end of the year, Chiefs lose. I got to go take a look at Moon. Let's look at my offense. Russ didn't lose his dev, which is kind of surprising. Did regress, though. He was a 77 to start the year. Now he's down to a 75. Jerry Jeudy, unfortunately, lost his superstar. No other devs up or down. Delos was a hidden dev lineman just as a star. McCullough as star. But on the defense, so Randy Gregory goes up to superstar. We hit the dev trait for Skinner to become a star dev in season. Riley Moss gets his star dev. Now, Moon was normal. You rarely see 2 dev traits in a given season. And we got one. So we got star dev based off of his production. We got superstar dev based off of defensive rookie of the year. Usually it doesn't matter. Usually that does, like the Madden algorithm will be like, you're only getting 1. Even if you deserve to go up 4 extra, from star or from normal all the way up to X Factor. Usually just gives you 1. The fact that we got 2, that's almost like making up for last year's debacle with Drew Sanders not getting any dev trait for winning defense. We get the double hitter on Jeremiah Moon, and I'm not going to complain. No retirements for Russell Wilson. He's running it back for 1 more year. Now I'm a little bit worried because 2 years on the bench, McCullough might lose his dev trait, which could suck. And not for lack of no interest. Nothing really appeals to me in free agency. I think the only spot that I might have went after would have been Jalen Phillips for one of our edge rusher spots, but like Randy Gregory's still playing pretty well. So I think we're going to just have to sit back and let this money roll over for another year. Worked out well for us last time because we were able to keep all of our pending free agents. So hopefully that works out the same for season number 3 of 5. Going into the first round of the draft. Honestly, we're like in a BPA type spot. There was a wide receiver that I really liked, and unfortunately he is actually still on the board. Terrell Fincher. Speed threat. Anytime you get a deep threat that's 6'4", you always want to see a little more. We got 3 Bs and a D. Runs a 4.38. Actually looks kind of solid. Look for that Tim Patrick replacement, but the fact that like we're looking for a wide receiver 3, you don't really want to burn that in the first round. Now we could look at tackle. Got the double A and the double A and the things you don't care about. But look, Tremaine Crosby does have the A pass blocking. That run block's probably pretty terrible. The combine is not particularly good. Now this is a little bit of a tell. It's really late in the Madden cycle to be giving away tips, but a lot of times, linemen are going to have really high letter grades. I've talked about this before, but like, I wouldn't be surprised if that impact blocking was like a B. So you'd have A awareness, B impact blocking, A pass block, and you're like, holy shit, this guy can't miss. Those guys almost always have really bad bench press. It's like one or the other. You either get a guy that's a big athletic freak and he's going to have some C's in there, or the guy that has the better letter grades almost always has really, really bad bench press numbers. So because of that, it's not really like a home run at the tackle spot. So then our next position that we actually kind of need a little bit is beefing up our front three a little bit. And we scouted Andrew Amaro at a Clemson 6'3", 297. So that's very much a 3-4 defensive end, which is what we need. Elite speed, pretty good. I mean, this guy looks like the layup. Normal dev, though. Back-to-back years, man, our first pick, normal dev. But last year, our normal dev pick ended up the season as a superstar. Maybe Amaro could follow in the same path. Looking at our draft recap, Amaro ends up being 75 normal dev. Decent threshold. My last pick of the draft, I didn't like the rest of the board whatsoever. I grabbed BPA, which was another center. Hidden dev. So just stack these guys. You know, it's going to be a matter of time till Ben Powers and, like, Garrett Bowles decide to retire. Then you kind of shuffle around the offensive line a little bit with some of these dev trait guys. Amaro does look really good. If that guy had a dev trait, he'd look a lot better than what he is right now. But he's a good athlete, pretty decent starting point. And let's see, actually, maybe we'll get a little bit of a buff if we move him to defensive end, because obviously he's an undersized D tackle. We're going to have him as our left defensive end. Goes from, actually, he loses a point. God damn it. Through 8 weeks, year 3, we're trailing the Chiefs. I see we can get a little upset here before we talk about contracts. Would be nice. Get a little bit of momentum. Maybe they're pulling away a little bit, but there's always room for 2 in this division to make the playoffs. Maybe even 3. Sometimes even 4 teams from the West can make the playoffs. And we're able to get a nice win. 37-31 in a shootout over Kansas City. Go to 5-3, second in the division. Let's look at contracts. Didn't spend in free agencies that we could have plenty of money to keep everybody that's right here in the building as long as we want them to. We have Garrett Bowles. I mean, honestly, he's going to keep getting 1-year deals, sure. And the time that he would say no to 1-year deal, the time we let him walk. We got Patrick Surtain. We'll give him player friendly, not to mess around. Can't lead the building. Probably our best player pound for pound. Cortland Sutton. We don't have a lot of depth at wide receiver, but he's been reliable, like 1,000 yards, 4 years, 36 mil for what he is as a wide receiver too. Isn't too bad. We have Zach Allen looking for a 3-year deal. Now this is where we might need to put our foot down. I like Zach Allen. I think there's some value there, but that is not cheap. Greg Dulcich, also not particularly cheap, but he's been like good for like 900 yards. We'll offer him for this, and he signs on the dotted line. $33 million remaining. Man, I would like to keep him, but like that is a lot of money. We'll go up to 10.5, 6.5. This will be my one bid. If not, I think we're going to move on at defensive end, and he wants more money. So this is our first player that I want to kind of keep that we can't. It's never the worst thing when that happens in year 3 of a rebuild, and you've already won the Super Bowl. And year 3 closes, we miss out on the playoffs, 9-8. The Chargers get in? Wow, they had the tiebreaker. Damn. It's year 3. Year 3 is the weird year, I guess. Russ played well. Russ is not, you know. Ooh, never mind. Russ did not play well. 22 interceptions. What's he seeing things out there? That is a lot. That's probably more picks than he has thrown in like multiple seasons. Like looking at like peak Seahawks, like that's like 3 seasons worth of interceptions in 1 year for Russ. You know, it might not be the worst thing if he decides to retire this year. Javonte was solid. Jerry Jeudy, Dulcich going over 1,000, which is great for a tight end. 3,000 receivers. Mims almost 4,000 receivers, and Mims had a break-in. He was our starting slot wide receiver this year, making the most of his opportunities. Defensively, Moss, Jewell, and Sanders all go over 100 tackles. 8 sacks, Randy Gregory, 7.5 Amaro, 7 from Barry Browning. You know, acceptable. We'd like to see a little bit better type numbers. Riley Moss led the team with 3 interceptions. Yearly awards MVP goes to Lamar Jackson. Quickly burning through here for some Broncos. Amaro does win Defensive Rookie of the Year, so hopefully that plays him up into at least a star dev trait. But kind of just a burn year here, unfortunately, in year 3. The Chiefs beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and now it's time to look at the damage from an underperforming season. On the offense, Russell Wilson lost his dev trait. I think it's fair to say we're going to do this, and hopefully Russ retires so we get that salary cap, which we can go spend somewhere else. Greg Dulcich does go from star to a superstar, which is a nice win. Defensively, as far as dev traits are concerned, Amaro win Defensive Rookie of the Year goes up. Dev, PS2 keeps his dev. Justin Simmons, though, regressed down to a normal. Gross. Randy Gregory up to an X Factor, which is pretty cool. That's disrespectful to Justin Simmons, I think. Russell Wilson didn't retire, so this is going to be awkward. He's benched. Want to get a little bit of zap in the arm by free agency, so we are going to look at bringing a McCaffrey home. I feel like if we're going to a brand new quarterback, we've seen in the sim that 2 running backs can eat here in Denver. What better way to take the pressure off? Actually, you know what? I'll go up to player friendly here. What better way to take the pressure off by bringing a legacy player back? Christian McCaffrey, dad, Ed McCaffrey, all-time great for the Denver Broncos, and a backfield of Christian McCaffrey, Javonte Williams, sure as hell is going to take the pressure off a first-year starting quarterback. Little guy at the draft, pick 18, early. We usually don't pick this high. There was 3 players that I scouted. One literally just went at pick 17, was linebacker. We have Calvin Rivers, who's a nice little speedster that we could throw into the mix. Don't really need a wide receiver. Marvin Mims put up a respectable year. Other player that I did scout was, it wasn't the best role, Quentin Hardesty at safety, just because Justin Simmons is regressing. I feel like there could be retirement impending. And Hardesty does not. I think we just got to kind of go BPA at this point. Like, there's not much there. And like that, he looks like a great wide receiver. So we'll go BPA. And again, that's every top pick we've made in this rebuild has been a normal dev. Beautiful. Take a look at our draft recap. Rivers, pretty dope. 75 if he is a normal dev. We actually did get Hardesty in the second round, and he popped with a dev, so not as bad as I thought. 72 hit a dev here. For the big hitting free safety, we get a 73 wide receiver, William Forbes, later on. But I think it's going to be how we're going to use Christian McCaffrey and our brand new quarterback. It's going to be the interesting thing for year 4, not necessarily all in this draft class. Oh, X Factor Hardesty, let's go! So because we have the X Factor safety, got to get him on the field, and our front 3 is pretty bad, which we'll see in just a sec. So I decided to ship off JL Skinner in our 6th round pick to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who needed a safety, and we're getting Cofield, 24 years old, 76 star dev, and a 5th round pick. I'm not gonna lie, there was a couple superstars that I tried to chase for in cheese, and no teams were biting. Year 4 for the Denver Broncos. Thank God we won the Super Bowl year 1, because this is going to be a slight transitionary year, as we're going to go with McCullough as our starting quarterback. And, I mean, a very fun set of tools. 98 throw power, 82 mid accuracy, so it's not just like he's pure deep ball, but still also a lot of areas that need refinement in his game. And is he going to be good enough this year? And he only has 2 years left to try to put it all together. Luckily, Russell Wilson does have a mentorship tag, so it will help his XP this season. But unfortunately, we still have Russell Wilson's salary on the books, which limited how much we could spend this offseason. But we were able to bring in Christian McCaffrey, who wanted to come to Denver, following the shoes of his father. So I would say and view it this way. Obviously, front offensive line, very good. Dulcich is nice. Sutton and Judy are wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Christian McCaffrey is going to be our slot wide receiver. So we're still going to have a lot of Javonte Williams. He's going to be our power back. And anytime CMC lines up in the slot, so plenty of snaps for... I just envision this. I feel like this is going to work. It might not work, might blow up my face. Hopefully it works. On the defensive side, so Cofield, who we traded for with Skinner, because if not, we had Eubanks, who's 69, and Mustafa, who's 72. That's a pretty weak front 3, even though our front 3 doesn't really need to make a lot of plays. Looks a little bit better this way. PS2 still an X Factor. We have Riley Moss and Moon, who are great. Hardesty, our 2nd round pick, is an X Factor. That's why we were able to trade JL Skinner. And really, the only other trade I could have made would have been like keeping Skinner and then trading Justin Simmons. I don't want to disrespect a great Denver Bronco. We want him to retire as a Bronco. And the linebacking core looks nice with Randy Gregory now being an X Factor. But yeah, we're going to go. Everything here is pretty much how I want it. And we're going to put CMC there as our slot wide receiver instead of Marvin Mims. Let's get into the new era of the Denver Broncos with McCullough as our quarterback. Midway through year 4, we're 4-2, sitting atop of the West. Rookie quarterback. Well, no, he's not a rookie no more. Wow, our offense kind of sucks. Shit. 22nd off. But defense is a big reason why we are where we are. And that's all that really matters. Looking at some contracts here. Who do we want for the full rebuild? 73 mil. We got Ben Powers. We do have a replacement if we need to, but that's going to be tough to replace. He's an 85. Definitely want to keep Drew Sanders here. We'll give him player-friendly deal. Bump the contract up a little bit for the former Defensive Rookie of the Year. Riley Moss, absolutely. He just wants more years. That's not going to be an issue. Randy Gregory's X Factor, but I mean, he's getting up there in age. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a transitionary period, getting younger at certain positions, but we'll get Riley Moss back in the building, and we'll reevaluate everybody else at season's end. We finished year 4, no playoffs again. 8-9 on the outside looking in. It was going to be a little bit gamble, switching to a quarterback. I mean, we had to anyways. He played fine. I mean, if you put that as a rookie season, not bad. But then all the pressure, we got one more year left. CMC and Javonte were able to coexist, kind of. Judy and Sutton had good years. I'll tell you right now, what is going on with the slot? Why didn't he go in the slot? Who's changing my playbook here? Because those aren't starting slot numbers for CMC. Okay, maybe I got to make Christian McCaffrey backup running back. And then, okay, I think that's what I'm going to do. Maybe that was the missing piece. Because clearly my offense wasn't working as I intended it to, which is frustrating. Barry Brown led the team with 9 sacks. Cofield with 7.5. Surtain, 3 picks. I don't think we're going to have any award winners. Pretty disappointing year across the board here for the Denver Broncos. And yeah, we had absolutely nobody. Back-to-back mulligan years. Thank God we won the Super Bowl year 1, but now we're staring down the barrel of 2 very disappointing seasons going into the 5th and final year of this rebuild. Dev traits, well, Garrett Bowles lost his star. Kind of hoping he retires. If I can get his contract and Russell Wilson's off the books, I could probably go buck wild this free agency, as long as there's players worth spending the money on. Defensively, we lost Josie Jewell's star dev, but he's set to become a free agent, so not bad. Could have been a lot worse. And the inevitable has happened. Russell Wilson has retired after 15 years. Thank you very much for bringing another Super Bowl to the Denver Broncos organization. Now I look forward to spending your massive contract on getting this team better. So we're going to splash some of this cash around and make bitter rivals even more bitter. Max Crosby is the top available free agent, and that's where we're shuffling all of that Russell Wilson money. At least we're going to try to. I'm going to get Skaronski to come in and be our Garrett Bowles upgraded left tackle, and look at Rodrigo to be our Josie Jewell replacement. If we can hit all 3, which we do, that should be at least enough at minimum to get us back into the playoffs. And we don't really need anything, so I'm going to go with just a fun-looking player. Solomon Phillips, 6'4", A-catching B-man, and he runs a 4.30. The almost 38-inch vert. Sure, welcome to my team. And hey, we break the curse of all my first-round picks this year being normal devs. And take a look at a draft rate. What a stud. Fall into a 77 hidden dev. We got a 72 tackle. But Solomon Phillips saving the best for last. Well, actually, saying that like we didn't just draft an X-Factor safety out the get. But my God, what a stud this guy is. So setting up year 5, our 5th and final year. We've won 1 Super Bowl. I'd love to win 2. And really the big change on the offense, we brought in Skaronski to take over for Garrett Bowles, who's been here for a minute. And then I'm going to go with the switch. I'm going to put Javonte Williams as RB1, so CMC's RB2, which I therefore think will let him get all of our slot wide receiver ups and third down reps. That hopefully will work. Defensively, big additions. We got Rodrigo at linebacker, Max Crosby as a pass rusher to maintain our 3 X factors active at all times on the defensive side of the football. And yeah, man, it's all on McCullough. I think we have more than enough talent to at least challenge for a Super Bowl. Hopefully, year 5, we at least make the playoffs and get an opportunity to go on a run. And then year 5, just barely squeaking into the playoffs, second in the AFC West, 11-6. We finish not a great offense, 17th, but a top 5 defense. And that's, hey, you know, you're not always going to win purely on offense. McCullough hasn't really been him. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to have that great storybook. Like, we got a sleeper projected day 3 quarterback, but you know, he's kind of played like a day 3 quarterback. Our rushing offense, well, we got 11-16 and 7. Okay, so a little bit decent. Why is he not staying in the slot, man? That is very annoying. Like, Chris McCaffrey should have Forbes. He should be having like 900 yards and 7 touchdowns. He should have the combination of this. Don't know why that ever worked. Maybe that's the reason why the offense, just incompatible parts. It's like I'm trying to build a PC here. I got 2 things that just don't want to work together. Another year where Sanders leads the team in tackles. Max Crosby, a little underwhelming for a 98 X factor, only 10 sacks. Again, just the downside of trying to sim in a 3-4 defense. Sacks never exist. Riley Moss leads the team with 4 picks. He's been great in this rebuild. Yearly awards. MVP goes to Josh Allen. Quickly looking for some Buffalo Bills to see, like, are they good? Nope. Got a couple Raiders, but no. Beloved Denver Broncos. There's a chance that the Bills are pretty good. First in our ways, the Denver Broncos, 11-6. I'm not gonna lie, not over optimistic. We're gonna go run here, but and we get absolutely the shit kicked out of us, 41-14, and Well, outside of drafting a couple fun players, we peaked after our first year. Could never top what Russell Wilson accomplished with this team, but if this does end up our final Madden 23 rebuild, at least we have a Super Bowl. It goes down as a successful one. Jameis Winston there's a backup. McCullough, kind of just like a solid QB. Nothing special. Placeholder quarterback, honestly. Javonte has 7,100 yards, 78 touchdowns. Bringing in CMC was a mistake. He just made everything else kind of not great. It never really worked out well. 9,500 yards, 48 tutties for Cortland Sutton. 8,300 yards, 55 tutties for Jerry Jeudy. Greg Dulcich was really nice in this rebuild. 5,100 yards, 35 touchdowns. On the defensive side, Justin Simmons finishes his career with over 1,000 tackles and 25 picks. Drew Sanders with 500 plus tackles, 8 picks. We got 44.5 sacks for Baron Browning, going along with 60 TFLs. Great player for us in this rebuild. Interception-wise, 25 picks, Justin Simmons, 22 for Pat Surtain, 13 for Riley Moss, 10 from our superstar corner that we drafted, Jose Moon. And all in all, successful rebuild. Pretty fun rebuild, all things considered, but I almost feel like because we kind of fizzled it out here, maybe I got one more in me. Maybe. I mean, what teams do we got left that I didn't do? I had them written down here somewhere. The Broncos were really the last interesting one, I thought. I mean, we still got the Bears and Vikings. We just recently did like a 10, the 0-ring, 7-ring Viking rebuild. I feel like that wouldn't be too much different than what we just did. So maybe we finish with the Bears. I know there's a lot of people that are disappointed I didn't pick the Bears as my Madden 24 franchise. So maybe we can come back for a Bears rebuild before we wrap this one up. So if you guys want to see a Bears rebuild and put an asterisk next to it, potentially our last Madden 23 rebuild, let me know in the comment section below. But that will do it for me here today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed it. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace out. Love ya. Have a good one.